The unseen scars child abuse in educational sanctuaries. Schools should be safe places for all children. They are meant for learning, growing, and making friends. Young minds arrive at school full of trust, believing their teachers and the school environment will protect them. Sadly, this profound trust can be shattered by unthinkable acts. When abuse occurs within the supposed safety of school walls, it is a terrible and devastating betrayal. It transforms a place of learning into a source of deep fear. This abuse happens where children should feel most secure, leaving behind wounds that are often invisible but incredibly painful. The very sanctuary designed for their development can become the location of their deepest trauma. Child abuse is a heartbreaking problem that affects communities everywhere. It does not discriminate, and it can appear in any setting, including our schools. Educational institutions, regrettably, are not immune to this scourge. Abusers can be individuals in positions of authority, such as teachers or school staff members. Sometimes older students can also be perpetrators of abuse against younger, more vulnerable peers. These individuals often exploit their power or influence over children. The abuse itself can remain a dark secret for a very long time. Children may be too frightened to tell anyone what is happening, or they may not fully understand that what they are experiencing is wrong. Abuse that takes place within a school setting has particularly troubling characteristics. The abuser often has regular, sometimes daily, unsupervised access to the child. This consistent proximity provides numerous opportunities for the abuser to commit harm and to manipulate the child. The structured environment of a school, with its routines and hierarchies, can unfortunately be exploited to isolate a victim. It can also be used to make threats seem more credible and inescapable. For a child trapped in such a situation, speaking out becomes an incredibly difficult and terrifying prospect. They often fear disbelief, blame, or even retaliation that could make their suffering worse. When a child endures abuse, they are plunged into a world of profound confusion and overwhelming fear. Their understanding of the world and the people in it can be turned completely upside down. The adults or older peers whom they once looked up to or were supposed to trust may become the very source of their pain and terror. This traumatic experience can shatter a child's fundamental sense of safety and security in the world. It can deeply affect their ability to trust other people for many years to come, potentially impacting all future relationships. It is our solemn duty to ensure that schools are always places of genuine protection and nurturing, not places of pain and fear. Faces of suffering. Understanding the forms of abuse. Physical abuse is one of the most visible forms of harm inflicted upon a child. It involves any action by a caregiver or person in authority that results in bodily injury. This can include actions like hitting, shaking, kicking, burning, or any other form of physical violence. Within a school environment, physical abuse might manifest as overly harsh physical punishment administered by staff. It could also involve violent acts committed by other students, particularly older ones, against younger children. While the visible marks such as bruises, cuts, or broken bones are clear and shocking signs, the invisible pain and enduring fear are just as damaging, often lasting long after the physical wounds have healed. Emotional abuse is another cruel and insidious form of mistreatment that attacks a child's developing sense of self. It targets their feelings, their confidence, and their overall emotional well-being. This type of abuse can be expressed through persistent yelling, constant demeaning criticism, or routinely making a child feel stupid, worthless, or unloved. Public humiliation, perhaps in front of classmates or peers, is a common and particularly damaging tactic. Threats, intimidation, and creating a hostile, fear-filled environment also constitute emotional abuse. Though its scars are not visible on the body, emotional abuse erodes a child's spirit slowly, painfully, and profoundly, impacting their mental health for years. Sexual abuse is a devastating and deeply violating form of exploitation. It encompasses any sexual act forced upon or tricked out of a child, or any situation where a child is exposed to sexual behavior without their informed consent. This includes unwanted touching, inappropriate exposure to pornographic material, coerced sexual acts, or rape. In school settings, an adult in a position of trust and authority might exploit their power over a child. They might engage in a process of grooming, gradually gaining the child's trust and affection to lower their defenses. This horrific abuse steals a child's innocence and sense of bodily autonomy, leaving behind deep trauma, shame, and confusion that can affect every aspect of their future life. Neglect is also a serious and damaging form of child abuse, though sometimes less actively recognized. It is characterized by the persistent failure of a caregiver or institution to provide for a child's fundamental basic needs. These needs include adequate food, appropriate clothing, safe shelter, and necessary medical care. In a school context, neglect can manifest as persistently ignoring a child's obvious signs of distress or need. It can be the failure to protect a child from ongoing bullying or harassment by peers. It can also involve denying a child essential educational support or resources they require to learn. Schools have an inherent duty of care for every child, and neglect represents a profound breach of this fundamental promise of safety and support. A nation's outcry, the case of Yassine and the pursuit of justice. A recent and deeply disturbing case from Egypt starkly illustrates the horror of child abuse in schools. This case involved a very young boy named Yassine who was only 6 years old at the time of his ordeal. The terrible abuse occurred within the walls of his preschool, a private educational institution where he should have been safe and cherished. The perpetrator was a 79-year-old school administrator, a figure who should have been a protector. Instead, he repeatedly sexually abused young Yassine in the school bathroom. These dreadful acts took place in 2024, representing a shocking and heartbreaking betrayal of trust in a place dedicated to early learning and development. The details of his suffering are difficult to comprehend. The path to achieving justice for little Yassine was fraught with challenges and delays. Initially, the legal charges brought against the perpetrator were for a less severe offense. However, after appeals and growing public concern, the Damanhur Criminal Court courageously re-evaluated the evidence and reclassified the charges. They were significantly upgraded from sexual assault without force to the more serious charge of sexual assault committed under threat and coercion. This crucial reclassification ultimately led to a life sentence for the abuser, which under Egyptian law translates to 25 years of imprisonment. Throughout the proceedings, the defendant, identified as SK, consistently denied all allegations, citing his advanced age and frail health as reasons he could not have committed such crimes, but the evidence proved otherwise. There were profoundly disturbing reports suggesting attempts to cover up the abuse and silence Yassine's family. It was alleged that the school principal may have been aware of the ongoing abuse. Instead of protecting Yassine, she reportedly gave him a small stick, advising him to use it for self-defense. Furthermore, she allegedly urged both Yassine and his family to remain silent about the atrocities. Yassine's brave mother also revealed that intermediaries, purportedly acting on behalf of the accused administrator, approached the family. They allegedly offered substantial amounts of money and the promise of free education for Yassine if they agreed to withdraw their legal action. These alleged actions highlight the immense pressure and intimidation that victims' families can face when courageously seeking truth and justice. Yassine's tragic case ignited a wave of widespread public outrage across Egypt, galvanizing the nation. A powerful social media campaign, using the hashtag Yassine's Right, quickly went viral, drawing massive attention to his plight and the broader issue of child safety. Ordinary citizens organized and participated in protests, passionately demanding the maximum possible punishment for the perpetrator. In response to the public outcry, the Egyptian Ministry of Education issued statements emphasizing its unwavering commitment to ensuring the protection of all students within its schools. Similarly, the National Council for Childhood and Motherhood publicly expressed its confidence in the judiciary to deliver justice. This case has become a landmark, symbolizing the collective fight against child abuse in schools and demonstrating the potent power of a united public voice. Breaking the silence media law and the path to protection. The media plays an absolutely crucial and often indispensable role in the fight against child abuse. It has the power to bring hidden cases, like that of young Yassine, out of the shadows and into the public consciousness. Comprehensive news reports, sensitive documentaries, and even fictional television dramas can serve to significantly raise public awareness about this pervasive issue. In Egypt, for example, there's a growing trend in media, including popular drama series, to start discussing the subject of child abuse more openly and directly. This increased visibility helps to break down the harmful silence and pervasive stigma that so often surround child abuse, making it easier for communities to confront the problem. Media can educate the public on how to recognize the subtle signs of abuse and, importantly, can empower victims to find the courage to finally speak out and seek help. Alongside media attention, strong, clear laws, and a fair, effective legal system are absolutely essential for protecting children. The conviction of Yasin's abuser in Egypt was secured under Articles 268 and 269 of the Egyptian Penal Code, which specifically address offenses of indecent assault. Significantly, this case and its handling also align with the principles enshrined in the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. This vital international treaty explicitly states that all children have a fundamental right to protection from all forms of violence, abuse, and sexual exploitation. It is the solemn duty of the courts and the entire legal system to apply these laws diligently and fairly, ensuring that justice is served for victims and that potential abusers are strongly deterred. The impact of child abuse on its victims is profound, leaving scars that can last a lifetime. Children who endure abuse may suffer from a range of serious physical health problems, some of which may not become apparent until many years later. The emotional and psychological consequences are often even more severe and persistent. Victims frequently experience conditions such as post-traumatic stress disorder, chronic depression, debilitating anxiety, and an impaired ability to trust others. Forming healthy, stable relationships can become incredibly difficult. Furthermore, the trauma of abuse can significantly disrupt a child's education and their ability to learn. These children require extensive, long-term support, compassion, and specialized therapeutic understanding to begin the difficult journey of healing and to rebuild their shattered lives. Ultimately, protecting children from abuse is a collective responsibility that falls upon every single member of society. We must all work together to create and maintain genuinely safe environments for children in their homes, within their communities, and most certainly within their schools. It is absolutely vital that we learn to listen attentively and respond appropriately when children try to speak to us about abuse. We must believe them, validate their experiences, and take immediate, decisive action to protect them. All institutions, especially schools, need to implement clear, robust policies and provide comprehensive training for staff to prevent, recognize, and respond effectively to any instance of child abuse. Every child, without exception, has the inherent right to grow up feeling safe, secure, and cherished, free from harm and fear, with every chance to reach their full potential.